Hello, again, and welcome to your CNET 204 Introduction to Web Design Lab 7 demo video. We're already on Lab 7? That seems crazy, because there's only 10. But there's also 2 assignments, don't forget. So you should have already watched the lecture video, which wasn't super long. That gives you all the foundational knowledge that you're going to need for what we're going to do. In this lab, we are going to modify pretty much exclusively, actually, our style sheet. And we're going to write a whole bunch of CSS to take the navigation bar that we laid the framework out for in our last lab, this framework right here, and we're going to stylize it with CSS. And you could actually just leave this open if you really want, and see how things apply as we go. In fact, well, I'm not going to do that because, I mean, things just happened there, right? I think I got to get rid of that way. Let's try that. There we go. So let's open our style sheet, which I can't preview here. Now, if I preview that, let's see if this works better now. There we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a comment below everything else, just like we did up there. Whoops, /star, and we're going to say start navigation. And we're going to add another one here, end navigation. I'm just going to get rid of that terminal. Now, technically, you don't need to do this, right? All of the code that we're going to put in here will be our navigation bar. It's not required, but it's a handy thing. And then we're going to do our first complex selector. So we're going to apply to nav ul. This one was in the slides. So unordered lists that are child items of our nav. This right here, that's what we're talking about, right? And I've given you a list of things to stylize to prevent you from copy pasting, because you learn more typing. So we're going to set, I gave you the attribute and the value, and I gave you a description of what it does. The first thing we're going to do is remove those bullets by setting the list style, whoops, style type, oh look, and it auto completes to none. I'm liking this editor so much more now that I'm seeing this. This is great. We're going to set the margin to 0 and the padding to 0. And see what's happened with our list already? This is great. You're going to get to watch it change in real time. We're going to set the overflow attribute. Whoops. Overflow to hidden. So that's going to cause any content that fills more of the elements box than is available to just go away. We're just going to hide it. And let's set the background color to, it says a color of your choice. So let's say, what do I want to pick here? Let's try that. Maybe that'll look nice. I'm going to go with that. Now, don't freak out if you don't like your colors, right? Don't spend a lot of time really worrying about this. That wasn't the hex code, though, was it? What's the hex code for that? Oh, there we go. If you don't like the color that you picked, you can fix it later in assignment 1, which we're going to do in week 10. Now we're in week 7, so that's only a few weeks away. And an optional thing you can do here is apply a border radius. So what this will do is it'll give it some rounded corners by appearance. Let's see what that looks like. See? It just, I don't know, it's a nice effect. Some people like it, some people don't. So our list is starting to look more like a navigation, isn't it? Now we're going to add a new selector, and these are going to get increasingly more complex as we go. Nav, UL, LI. So exactly the same thing as we just did, only it's going to apply to these list items individually. We're going to set the float parameter to left. Oh, it's really starting to look like a navigation bar now. And then we're going to, I actually just gave you some code here to type in and see what it does. So we're going to set the display to block. We're going to set the color to white. We're going to set the text align to center. We're going to set padding to 14 pixels by 16 pixels. Oh. That's why it's not working. Oh, I feel like I should undo a bunch of things just to watch it slowly transform. And we're going to set the text decoration to none. Nav UL LI, that should be A. There we go. I was wondering why it wasn't working. I missed something. That's starting to look like a navigation bar. It's almost as if we accidentally did something right. So now we're going to apply some pseudo classes. That's the word I was looking for. So the first one we're going to do is nav ul li a. I'm going to stop and point something out before I go too much further. Remember last week when we created the framework, we added this class here, the active class. That's going to come into play right now. So we're going to, in this particular line, when you hover over the anchor tag, but it's not the active one. We're going to give it a background color. And you can try the one I gave you. Let's see what it looks like. I don't know, I might not like it. So when we hover over, oh, look at that. That's actually that's not horrible. I kind of like it. But notice what happens. Our current page, we don't get that. So it helps keep you oriented properly when you see your mouse, right? But we can do one more thing to help keep us oriented properly. Nav ul li a dot active, right? So we're going to apply some unique styling to that active class, which is what I promised you last week. We're just doing it right at the end. We're going to give it a background color of something different. Let's just go with black for now. I don't know if I like that. Let's maybe make that one different. Let's go with like maybe a purpley color. Yeah, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's way too bright. Let's go with like a darker purple. It's okay. It's not great, right? We're gonna fix it later. Like the idea is here, play around with it and we'll fix it later. Actually, what's that? That one might actually look really good. Let's try that one. I know I just said I was gonna fix it later, but yeah, it's okay. It's not great. I'm gonna leave it. We're gonna keep going. And we're going to set the color to... I kind of painted myself into a corner here. You could set the color to something different. Let's do white for now and change it. Maybe say, I don't know, a yellow or like a light green. Again, we can change this later, right? I actually kind of like that. It reminds me of like a terminal. We're almost done. We're really almost done. This is a quick lab again. So now we're going to make it responsive. We have our navigation bar, but when we resize our window, right, it doesn't, well, it does kind of, but not quite. It's not fully responsive. So first, it's only going to take like 7 lines of code. Nav ul li dot right. We're going to float right. You're probably thinking, wait a minute, we don't have a class of right anywhere. We will in a second. We're going to apply it with CSS. Now at media screen and max width 600 pixels, because that's the magic number that makes this work. Nav ul li dot right. So apply everything we just did in here, and you can specify more stuff in here later and it'll just apply it. Isn't that awesome? And nav ul li float none. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, that's beautiful. I like it. I'm pleased with it. The colors could be better, but you can fix that later. And I encourage you to play around with that and fix it later. So now we're done. Let's save everything and push it to GitHub. We didn't actually change anything here, so no changes there. Lab 7. Initial commit. Oh, I didn't stage things. See, so you could technically just say yes and commit them directly. It's a good practice to stage them if you made multiple changes, and I've just been trying to force myself to get into that habit. So now they're all staged. It's going to push them. And boom, they're in GitHub. Alright, so I paused for a little bit there, and I took care of some stuff so we can just do this next part a bit quicker. We have everything in GitHub. We've finished our page. Now we need to pull it into our instance, which means we need to connect to it. You could do it in a couple different ways, right? I've got AWS launched and started and everything's up and running. I could just use the instance connect here, or I could pop open a terminal or a command line. I'm going to do it that way this time. SSH. Remember the username is Ubuntu at, oh, not just SSH, SSH-I. There we go. SSH-I. I can type, really. Give me a second. cnet204.pem. So that's the key that you generated, right? So you've got to be in the directory where that exists in your file system for this to work. It's, for me, it's in my home folder in documents in CNET204. So that's just where I stuck it. And then your user at IP. So Ubuntu at 44.216.157.118. And you don't have to be using a virtual machine like I am, so you could literally just copy paste the command. I'm doing this in a VM, so it was kind of a pain in the butt to do that. So now that we're there, right, we're going to change to our labs 6 to 10. Assignment 1, there we go, just CD. We're going to issue a git pull. Enter our passphrase, which I think is that. Apparently I got it right on the second try. Everything's there. And now we can just copy everything. Sudo cp everything to var www.html. Probably want to do an ls to make sure everything's there, right? And yeah, updated today. And now we can go check it out on the server. So let's go back to our learner lab. I'm just going to go back to where I was. Go to instance details. Let's just open our Elastic IP. Oh, open address. Let's do it that way. And remember, it's going to take a minute to, we got to get rid of that S, right? HTTP. There's your web page. Awesome. So, for the submission, you've already kind of submitted it, part of it anyway, right? It's in GitHub. That's part of the submission. I can see it in GitHub if you're registered. But you're set up through Centennial College, right? If you're watching this on YouTube and you're not a Centennial student registered in my section, I can't see your code. But if you are, I can. And take a screenshot of this running in your virtual machine, or your instance on AWS, your server, and upload that to the folder on eCentennial. Thank you for watching. Take care. Be safe. Have an awesome week. And I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.